Hello and welcome back to the speaker studio here at Open Banking Expo Canada. And joining me on the sofa is Jane from MX. Jane, how is it going?
Great, thanks Rich. Thanks for having me.
No worries. And this is your roughly a millionth
Open Banking conference generally, and I think maybe my third here in Canada. So yeah, thrilled to be here.
Great, excellent. And how have you found it? How's the buzz?
You know, the buzz is good because it is a very tight community of people here. It's a very dedicated community of people, and I think there's some real momentum happening and a sense of action. So it's good. It's great to be here. Good buzz.
Great. So with momentum in mind, how have MX been helping to drive open banking through Canada?
So I'd say in two ways. We have a number of clients here where, our business is really predicated on the mission of empowering the world to be financially strong, right? How do people engage with their money in a positive and healthy way? So we do that through white label software solutions and connectivity, so people can actually get a 360-degree view of their money. Now, that has been somewhat limited in Canada, but one thing that we have done for the clients that we work with here, screen scraping still exists, right? From the very outset, MX, even if we're ingesting screen scrape data, we turn it to tokens, so we tokenize it, and any data that leaves MX is through an API. So we've been doing API-enabled data in Canada for many, many years. So that is step one, and we continue to invest there from just engaging with our clients and making sure Canadian consumers are protected. But we also show up in a pretty big way with the Financial Data Exchange. So I am the co-chair of the board. I've been on the board for a number of years. We have MXs on a number of working groups, and we really invest a lot of time to ensure that everything from a user experience perspective to a security perspective, that consumers are at the center, and almost regardless of what's going on in the regulatory world, we're moving the ecosystem forward. And so FDX Canada has been, it has been a little bit of hurry up and wait just across the ecosystem. But I think from within FDX, we're also extremely active to make sure that the FDX API instance, that is the Canadian instance, is highly specific to Canada. Like it is, Canadian fields, Canadian language, clearly bilingual, all of those things. So we've been investing a lot because, again, there's a lot of learnings from around the world, and we want to make sure that Canada can enjoy, hopefully, the fruits of the labor without any of the downsides that markets like, say, the UK or Australia may have experienced over the years.
Wow, so...
Long answer, I'm sorry, Rich.
No, it's good, it's great. I mean, I think that, how much of that has come in the last 12 months since last year's OBE? How much has been a relentless journey?
Yeah, it's definitely been a relentless journey. I think what has changed since OBE is a lot more discussions around data in. Okay. Because data out has been that's what we've all been pushing towards. It's open banking, it's APIs, it's what is the framework around the data out. But I think the real momentum comes from demand, right? And commercial demand. And the commercial demand for inbound data that is, enhanced and secure and can be ported into existing systems, that's where a lot of momentum has picked up in the last year. And I think, honestly, that is as important as regulation as the driver of open banking.
And do you think the needle is moving in regulation here in Canada, or is it fairly static?
I mean, the needle's definitely moving. The outcome of the last election, I think, was very positive for the open banking ecosystem. Having Mark Carney as Prime Minister, having his previous role in the Bank of England while open banking was happening there is, it's huge. And I think, from a very much top-down perspective, there is an understanding that this is a competitive advantage, and it's a sort of consumer-centric advantage. It's not just how do we put more regulations into the system. This is a commercial application first and foremost.
And do you see it as predominantly benefiting consumers or predominantly benefiting businesses, or has to be both? Or?
Well, I think there is a very strong overlap of that Venn diagram. It should be that the best solutions are the most profitable, right? Stasis globally has been a key driver of financial services. You get signed up for your bank account when you get your first job, and somehow that becomes your solution for the rest of your life. And in the last 10, 15 years, again, globally, there's been so many innovations that come from both within covered institutions as well as from the fintech world, that now competition really is a core part of survival and profitability. So if it's good for consumers, it should be good for the businesses that serve them, because your customers aren't going elsewhere to get what you're not doing. So it's just a lot more visible now. But if it doesn't start with consumers, I think we have a really big problem. So.
For sure. Yeah. Okay. I've taken from the flavour of our discussion, Jane, that you're feeling positive. You're feeling buoyed. What do you see the next 12 months in open banking? What conversations are we going to be talking about on this sofa in 12 months' time? Do you see a bright future?
So I only care about one thing. Okay, I care about many things, but the one thing in regard to this is data flowing through the ecosystem.
Okay.
Right? That's it. And we can talk and talk and talk and talk and have multiple conferences going on. Unless data is actively flowing in a healthy way that is permissioned, secure, you can manage consent, you can revoke consent, all of those things. Unless that is happening, right, we're still just preparing and laying the track. So I am very buoyed that we're definitely moving in that perspective. And I challenge the Canadian ecosystem for who's going to go first in a big way. That's what I want to know, because APIs are being built. I think there has been a little bit of chicken and egg. We need to know what framework we're building to, what compliance framework, what API standard. Like, there's a lot of things that need to happen, but there is activity. So the US did not wait for regulation in the way that other markets did. So we've seen a lot of momentum, especially in the top end of the market, for data to be flowing. And it's been flowing for 5+ years. This is not new now. So I think the best thing for Canadian consumers is to enable them to securely share their data, because many of them are not. They're sharing their data, but not securely. It's through oldie-timey screen scraping methods. This time next year, when we sit back here, Rich, we'll be saying, isn't it great that all of these companies have enabled data sharing? And hopefully there is reciprocity as well. It's not just, from the banks. It's like having an adoption of a standard across a whole ecosystem and having compliance or certification across the ecosystem. That's what I'm excited to see.
Great. So you're looking for someone out there to put their head above the parapet and go for it.
Yeah.
Great. Jane, thank you so much for your time. Really great to meet you. And thanks so much.
Welcome. Thank you so much for having me.
Cheers.